Okay, friends, welcome back. We're still in chapter 12, and there's a big chunk of reading today, verses 20 through 36, but I'm just going to hone in on a little bit of it. It's kind of a strange thing. I don't know when you read it, if you picked up on this, or if you just cruise right over it. It's easy to cruise right over. But it's a strange thing where the crowds are, following after Jesus and all of that stuff, and it's clear that Jesus has kind of captivated like the Jewish mind. Everybody seems to be looking for him, like we talked about. But the people that want to get rid of him and the people that want to follow after him. And then something happens that, again, is easy to kind of brush over. But look at verse 20. Now, among those who went up to worship at the feast were some Greeks. There are questions about who these folks are. It is possible that they are Jews and they're Greek-speaking Jews. But I don't know. I think they're probably not because of the context. They're probably Gentiles. They're probably, who knows why they're in Jerusalem. But this is a big festival. And there's a court in the temple for Gentiles. So we know that non-Jews actually come to these kinds of things. Who knows why they're there. But I think they're probably Gentiles or non-Jews. So they're up there, okay? They came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee. Why it says that right there, I'm not sure. But it's interesting that they add that. And they asked him, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." So these Greeks are looking for Jesus. Isn't that interesting? That's why I think they're Gentiles. We already know that all the Jews are looking for Jesus. And now these Gentiles are looking for Jesus too. Philip went and told Andrew. I think he probably went and told Andrew because he's not quite sure what to do with this. I mean, does Jesus want to see these non-Jews? Then Andrew and Philip, they probably talk about it. And then they went and told Jesus together. Jesus doesn't go and see them, or at least we're not told that he does. But instead he says this strange thing. The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. That's strange. Over and over again he said so far, my hour's not yet come, my hour's not yet come, my hour's not yet come. Here during the book of signs, the first 11 chapters, he's doing these signs, helping people to see who he is. People are kind of trying to push him to go further than he's ready to go yet. Think about when they try to make him king. Think about when Mary tries to get him to do stuff at the wedding. My hour's not yet come, my hour's not yet come. Right? Now all of a sudden his hour's come. Why all of a sudden now is his hour come? When these Greeks show up, I think it's because the Greeks showed up. The Jewish nation is already captivated by him. Everybody seems to be looking for him. And now, remember we talked about last week, now even the Gentiles are looking for him. Now the word has spread about who he is, even beyond the nation of Israel. He knows that it's time to go on to the next stage of the plan. Plan 1 was for people to know who he is, do the signs. Plan 2 is for him to do the work that he's sent there to accomplish. It's about who he is at the beginning of the book. And the second part is about what he does, what he accomplishes. And in order to be glorified, he has to do something. What does he have to do to be glorified? Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He knows, look, I'm like a seed. Or I got to die and be put into the ground. And then the fruit, which will be the coming of the Holy Spirit, which will be the growth of the church, everything that we have experienced, will come because of that. This is the pivot moment. This is the moment more than any other where the book shifts from focusing on helping us understand who Jesus is to focusing on what Jesus accomplished. Not just in his life, but also accomplishes through his death. What we're going to begin to see next week is that after this, he circles up just a small group of folks and says, hey, before I go, these are the things that you need to know, because he knows that he's about to go. One of the things that we see here is that Jesus, I think I'm going to talk about this in Cornerstone this Sunday, which I'm recording it the week before you see this, so I will have already talked about it, is that Jesus chooses this. He chooses to say yes when he could have chosen to say no. And why does he do that? Because, he says, look, in verse 32, I know that when I am lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all people to myself. Back up a little bit, he knows that this was the plan all along. Verse 27, my soul is troubled, but what should I say? Father, save me from this hour? but for this purpose I have come for this hour. I'm troubled, but I ultimately don't want out of it. Because even though it would be easier to say no, I'm going to choose to say yes. Because in saying yes, I will draw all people to myself. I'll save all people. I have a bottom line here. We pivot because all of a sudden now the whole world is beginning to catch wind of who Jesus is, represented by these Greeks. And when it would have been easier for him to say no, he says yes. So reflect on that today. What does it mean to you that Jesus says yes to you? God bless you, friends. Keep with the reading. And we'll see you next time.